What is up, YouTube? My name is RSMario, aka The Real Super Mario, bringing you another news roundup video. Okay, so initially this was supposed to be every Friday, but of course, whenever I plan to do something, it never really works out. But I still got it. I still got it to you though. So of course, the next time you see this will probably be a Friday. But we got some pretty interesting stories though. We've got Nintendo apologizing for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We have an interesting story about E3. You know what I'm saying? There's some good and some bad with that story. We also have a story about the Wolverine game and some details on that. We're going to talk about all that and more in today's episode. So of course, if you want to continue getting videos like this from me, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, do all that stuff that YouTube requires you to do to continue getting videos from me, as well as follow me at twitter.com/rsmario128. Like my video tweet, share my video tweet, and I will shout you out at the end of the episode. As well as follow me at The Loot Box Hero, which is my second channel, more commentary based. It's a little bit of a different vibe over there. That's why it's called The Loot Box Hero, because you never know what you're going to get when you open that. And of course, subscribe, because 80% of you guys are not subscribed. So let's get on into the news. Okay, so first up we have Nintendo of Canada apologizes for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet performance issues. So of course it will be Nintendo of Canada, because they are Canadian. So of course they apologize for everything. So of course they will be the ones to apologize for the condition that Scarlet and Violet shipped in. It's an understatement to say that the performance of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet didn't sit well with quite a few Nintendo fans. Sadly, the launch of the newest generation of Pokemon games was plagued with various performance issues. Not everyone experienced the issues, but enough people did, to the point that Nintendo eventually forced to address the problem with a few updates to try and sort out the issues. Things have been quieted down in a few months since Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's release, but that does not mean the topic has been forgotten completely. For example, the Financial Post did an interview with Nintendo of Canada General Manager Susan Pennyfather. You know what I'm saying? That's actually a pretty awesome name, Pennyfather. That's probably why the Financial Post interviewed her. Her name was Pennyfather. So during the interview, Pennyfather is asked about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet issues are mentioned. Is asked about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet issues are mentioned. That is literally how that is written. In response, she said, We absolutely apologize, because it is so important to give players a positive experience with our games, and when this doesn't happen, we do take it to heart. What I can say is the feedback from players has been absolutely been taken very seriously, and we're working on improvements for these games. So basically, your typical kind of marketing-ish answer, but it is an apology though. You know what I'm saying? That's more than what a lot of other games get for, like, you know, having terrible launches. And again, I will say the launch of Scarlet and Violet was kind of rocky. And I think it was a combination of Game Freak rushing the game and the fact that we just need new hardware. Alright, so Fortnite. Fortnite is getting Picolo and Gohan. Specifically, this is probably supposed to be like a promotion for Dragon Ball Super Hero, and which heavily features Gohan and Picolo. And so yeah, they're gonna be in the game. I haven't played Fortnite since, I think the last time I played Fortnite was the Switch launch. That was probably the last time I played this game. So I have no idea what's going on. But they are dropping in Fortnite, which is basically everything the video game now. And the Picolo bundle the bundle for this gives you the character, it gives you some clothes for the character, like, you know, Piccolo's his like training cape and whatnot. But the big thing is, these are $22. $22. I play Overwatch. I watch a lot of Overwatch streamers, and I've watched people complain about the $19 Overwatch 2 skins. Bro, this is $22. $22, bro. Just let that sink in, alright? Alright, so next, one of the bigger stories that happened last week was exclusive from IGN Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony won't be at E3. So E3 is coming back this year. E3 has not been a physical event for about 3 years now, mainly due to the coof. So, you know what I'm saying, it hadn't been a physical event. It's coming back. It's one of the biggest times of the year for gamers. It's gamer Christmas, essentially. Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo won't be there for various reasons. So E3's first physical event in 4 years is supposed to be a triumphant return for the trade show, an opportunity to recapture some of the excitement of the past conventions, which historically have been a major showcase events for the gaming industry. However, it appears that when E3 2023 hits the Los Angeles Convention Center in June, it will not be with 3 of its most important draws. IGN has heard from multiple knowledgeable sources that Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo will not be part of E3 2023. This information comes off the heels of Xbox's announcement last week that it will be returning to Los Angeles for its annual summer showcase, while declining to confirm whether it will be part of the show itself. Nintendo has also traditionally maintained a booth at E3 show floor even after pioneering the direct format. However, IGN has heard from sources around the industry that neither Nintendo nor Sony will be at E3 2023, with Sony originally dropping out in 2019 over reported disagreements with the ESA. It's currently unclear if Nintendo or Sony intend to time a showcase event with E3. Representatives from Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, and the ESA did not return requests for comment. So, interesting news. So basically what this means is that they're not going to be at the event at all. Now, this doesn't mean that they're not going to have shows around the same time. Like, Nintendo can easily have a Nintendo Direct around the same time of E3. Sony, since 2019, has had press conferences or some sort of event around that same time. And of course, Microsoft is usually there. Now, Andy Robinson on Twitter, PlayStation's decision isn't surprising. It snubbed the last two E3s, but I understand Nintendo feels it doesn't have enough major releases ready to show that would justify a significant event space. That right there, I think, is kind of untrue. It's possible, because again, Nintendo is going through a transition into a new console, probably in 2024. So it will be understandable that a lot of the big games are going to transition into launch games for the new system, or maybe even launch window titles. But I do think they do have some things that they could show. Like, there's Tears of the Kingdom, because it might get delayed. There is Metroid Prime, the remake. There is there's a couple of other things that they could show, but I don't think Nintendo would tell people that, because one thing about game companies is they're still big businesses and they still have shareholders and stock prices. And if Nintendo ever said, "Oh, we don't really have enough big games this year to really do an E3 show," people will definitely lose confidence in Nintendo, at least from a financial standpoint, and they would sell their stock, which will bring the stock price down, which will make shareholders very not happy. So I don't think they would actively tell people something like that. I also heard that Microsoft had reduced its marketing budget, which is why they weren't going to be there, because if you're reducing your marketing budget, why are you going to pay for an extravagant booth, as well as pay, like, you know, ESA fees and whatnot to have a show when you can just do a digital event? And I think they will come back eventually, but for right now, I think they're going to be gone. Hopefully this doesn't kill E3 though, because I love E3 personally. Amazon reportedly bought Tomb Raider franchise for $600 million. That sounds like a whole lot of money, okay? So, if you don't know, Embracer Group, which is a big group of, like, development studios from, like, Scandinavia, bought the Tomb Raider franchise from Square Enix, plus a whole bunch of other franchises and stuff for, I believe, $400 million. So for them to flip Tomb Raider for $600 million, that would be like, yo, Like, that would be crazy. So in a new rumor during the rounds, Amazon apparently coughed up $600 million for Tomb Raider franchise, which would include games, movies, TV rights, merchandise. Oh, so everything. Okay. The deal was apparently recently finalized by Embracer Group, which owns the Tomb Raider IP, after purchasing a number of Western studios formerly owned by Square Enix. If it turns out to be true, then it will be Amazon's second biggest purchase after acquiring the rights of Lord of the Rings. So yeah, this will be pretty big. So of course that means they will be able to make TV shows and movies out of Tomb Raider, as well as produce the Tomb Raider video games, which I believe Amazon still has game studios. So I think they can do that too. So that's definitely pretty interesting. So this one. So now we got to some technically good news. So Activision Blizzard agrees to pay $35 million to settle workplace misconduct charges. The SEC says Activision failed to maintain adequate disclosure controls and violated whistleblower protection rules. So this comes from VGC. And they're basically saying, in a statement released Friday, the SEC said that Call of Duty and Warcraft and Overwatch is still a game that's there. Publisher had previously lacked the tools and procedures necessary to adequately collect and analyze employee complaints of workplace misconduct. The government agency which is tasked with protecting investors and maintaining fair, orderly, and effective markets, which they haven't been doing, seeing as though they let Microsoft buy Activision and they let Disney buy Fox, and protecting and maintaining a fair market does not seem to be what the SEC really does. Also said Activision Blizzard had broken the law by violating SEC whistleblower protection rule. An Activision spokesperson told VGC in a statement, "We are pleased to have amicably solved this matter as the order recognizes that we enhanced our disclosure processes in regard to workplace reporting and updated our separation contract language. We did so as part of our continuing commitment to operational excellence and transparency. Activision Blizzard is confident with its workplace disclosures." Without admitting or denying the findings, Activision Blizzard agreed to cease and desist order to pay $35 million penalty. The SEC's order finds that Activision Blizzard failed to implement necessary controls to collect and review employee complaints about workplace misconduct, which left it without the means to determine whether larger issues existed that needed to be disclosed to investors. Jason Burt, director of the SEC's Denver office. So basically, what they're saying here is that Activision Blizzard did not handle these employee issues, and those employee issues affected shareholders and, affected the shareholders and the stock price in a negative way, and thus they didn't protect their shareholders by protecting their employees. Thus, that's why they have to pay the $35 million, which to me sounds ridiculous. Like, oh, so wait a minute, because they didn't protecting the peons, you offended the more powerful people, thus now you are in trouble. Okay. So, to some good news, we have Nintendo Switch vouchers. Now, again, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not a shill, okay? But I just think this is a really good idea, and I've never really heard of something like this. So, Nintendo Switch vouchers are game vouchers. For $99, you can get 2 vouchers. And these 2 vouchers would allow you to purchase digital Nintendo Switch games for a year. So like say May rolls around and you want to pick up Tears of the Kingdom, use one of those vouchers you paid $100 for. Alright, and honestly, it's a pretty good deal because all the games you can purchase are $60 a piece. So you're technically saving $20. You're going to get $120 worth of games for $99.98. Because they have just updated the games on there, and there are some pretty good games on there. Like, There's like Tears of the Kingdom pre-orders on there, but they also have Fire Emblem Engage. They also have Scarlet and Violet. They have Legends Arceus. They have I believe Triangle Strategies also on the game on there. I have to check that again. But they got a pretty good list of games though. Pretty good list of games. And speaking of pretty good games, we have you know, a rumor coming out of Walmart saying that Walmart has received Advance Wars Reboot posters that say available now. So it seems as though rumors surrounding the imminent Nintendo Direct presentation show no sign of slowing down. A Walmart worker over on Reddit claims that a delivery recently came through, which included 3 new cardboard displays for the store's gaming section. The person says the cardboard displays were for Minecraft Legends, which has its release date shared last week for the Xbox thing. Tears of the Kingdom, which is scheduled for the 12th of May, and Advance Wars Reboot, which apparently says available now. The crux is that the person did not snap any photos, so there's no way to prove that it's legit. But what does this mean? So if it means available now, there's a very good possibility that when we do get the Nintendo Direct, that they could shadow drop the game. So like if the Nintendo Direct is like Thursday or whatever, you know what I'm saying, then you know they say, oh yeah, they have a trailer for Advance Wars, and then they just shadow drop the game that day, so you'll be able to play it immediately after the Direct. So that would be pretty interesting. But we don't know if it's true or not, since they only got cardboard standees and they didn't get any copies of the game. Why would you get a cardboard standee for the game and no copies? You know what I'm saying? That'll be weird. Even though weirder things have happened, because my local Walmart had no copies of Fire Emblem the day after it launched. So, it is what it is. And so, let's see. So, our last big story of the day is Insomniac Games is reportedly aiming for a R rating, or technically an M rating, for its Wolverine game and a fall 2024 release. So, according to insider Jeff Grubb, Marvel's Wolverine is aiming to launch 1 year after Spider-Man 2. However, Insomniac is reportedly discussing a 2025 release internally, but Jeff Grubb has also claimed that Insomniac is aiming for a R rating while avoiding any ties to the X-Men movies. So basically, you know, they're saying they want to make it more of a mature rated game, you know, up the violence, maybe up the swearing, maybe we get some Marvel titties. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. As for what the game will look like, according to James Grubb, it will differ from Spider-Man in that it will be several open sections of a world and not necessarily open world. So kind of like Legends Arceus versus Scarlet and Violet. So, you know, Legends Arceus was a world that had sections in it that were open world, whereas Scarlet and Violet is just open world. Grubb's claims also line up with Insomniac director Brian Horton, who confirmed in September that Wolverine will have a mature tone. A R rating is certainly fitting then, especially given Spec Ops: The Line writer Walt Williams is working on the script. If you don't know, Spec Ops: The Line is probably one of the most interesting first-person shooter stories like ever, maybe. So that's it. I think this is gonna be pretty interesting. A mature rated Marvel game. I mean, you kind of have to. Wolverine is character. Like, he's Wolverine. Like, you need to be able to, like, dismember people and, like, kill people in brutal ways. I dig this. I dig this. So I don't think this is going to be, like, an Old Man Logan type of thing. I think this is just going to be a mature Wolverine game, which I think is going to be great. So that's about it. Tell me in the comments if you like this. Drop a comment down below. Tell me what you think about some of the stories today. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely subscribe. And as always, people, keep it real.